Hi, I'm Dan Cortopassi. Today I'm reviewing HO scale Harriman cars from Golden Gate Depot. I have one full set of 6 cars in Southern Pacific's green scheme and an additional coach in Southern Pacific two-tone gray. The 6 car sets have a baggage car, an RPO, 2 coaches, an all-day lunch car, and a business car. I ordered my cars direct from Golden Gate Depot and paid $539.95 for the 6-car set. The individual car was $89.95. Oddly enough, the per-car price for the set breaks down to $89.99 each, slightly more than the price for the individual car. Golden Gate Depot also offers these cars in other paint schemes. All right, so let's put 100 potential points on the board and see how these things do. Each of these cars comes in a cardboard box. Inside the box is a plastic insert, and then the car's wrapped in more plastic. It looks like this box should do a pretty good job of protecting the car when it's stored or transported. According to Golden Gate Depot's website, the car lengths are wrong compared to the prototype. Apparently Golden Gate Depot used the same floor length for all the cars. Even though I consider myself a prototype modeler, and Southern Pacific is one of my favorite railroads, my usual era of interest is the 1990s. I've photographed similar preserved cars on the Niles Canyon Railway. The Golden Gate Depot coach and all-day lunch cars look similar to those cars at a glance, but differ considerably in detail. Unfortunately, I don't have enough reference material on SP passenger cars to make a definitive judgment as to how accurate they are aside from the length. For that reason, I'm only going to deduct 5 points for the length issue. The paint on the cars is overall pretty good, although some of the stenciling is a little bit poor by today's standards, meaning that the lettering isn't quite as crisp as it could be. And also there's some spots where I see some tiny voids, and also some spots that don't look quite completely opaque. Also, some of the lettering is slightly crooked. For example, on the all-day lunch car, the all-day lunch is going downhill slightly to the left. I'm going to deduct 5 points for the mediocre quality of the markings. The cars have freestanding grab irons and nice rivet detail on the sides. The RPO car has a mailbag catcher, and I like the detail inside the windows. I also like how some of the underbody detail shows on the sides. The window glazing on the cars does seem a little bit on the thick side. It would be nice if it was a thinner material. The end doors on the RPO and the baggage car are closed. The grab irons here are also freestanding. There are no uncoupling levers, but there are air hoses. The other cars have open end doors. Otherwise, the detail is pretty similar. The diaphragms on the cars are non-operating. The business car has an observation platform on one end. The cars have some pretty neat roof detail. It varies a little from model to model. This is one of the coaches. It has some conduits as well as vents, and more freestanding grab irons. Most of the underbody detail is molded on. For a car that's this expensive, that's disappointing. A lot of other models in this price range would have freestanding components and plumbing. I'm taking off 10 points for the molded on underbody detail, lack of uncoupling levers, and thick windows. Looks like we've got a low coupler. This one's okay. This one is also low. So we've got 7 cars, 14 couplers. Of those, only 2 were at the correct height. All the others were low, and some of those were very low. That's not a very good ratio. Since so many couplers are low, I'm taking the maximum 15-point deduction. The wheel gauge on all the cars is good and matches the NMRA gauge perfectly. Each of these cars weigh between 4.5 and 4.8 ounces. The NMRA recommended weight for cars of this length is 5.5 ounces. These are probably heavy enough to track all right, although in a really long train, it might be good to add some weight to them. So one thing I like to do is a wobble test, and these cars don't. That's good. You don't want them to be wobbling back and forth like this when they're going down the track. I also tested them and they seem to be pretty free rolling, which is also good. Although the diaphragms are non-operating, the cars two couple together easily, and when they're coupled, the separation is pretty minimal. All of the cars are equipped with LED lighting that comes on when there's current on the track. This will work either in DC or DCC. There's even lighting in the baggage car. I like how the light is pretty even throughout the car. That's nice. So let's take a look at what we've got. I deducted 5 points for prototype accuracy. Since these really don't look like $90 models, I took 15 points in the paint and detail category. Finally, I took another 15 points in the standards and operation category for coupler height. That leaves us with a total of 65 out of a possible 100 points, which would be a solid D on a report card. These cars get a yellow signal. Proceed with caution. If you're the type of modeler who demands complete prototype accuracy, you'll probably want to pass on these cars. On the other hand, despite their shortcomings, they're still fairly good models that should operate pretty well, especially if the coupler heights are fixed. They look reasonably like SP cars, so if you're willing to accept a few compromises, you might like them.